I'm not ready. I don't know if I've got the words for this today. What did we all go through on Saturday? Why would they do that? Holy crap! Good morning, everyone. No, that was crap. But I don't care. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, Thunderbird friends. And are we all feeling like this? I have very, very few words, other than what's written down before me, to actually explain and comprehend Saturday's episode of Thunderbirds Are Go. Like, I hadn't watched it until Sunday, no, it was Saturday night, because we had people over. It was my nan's 80th birthday. Some of you may have seen the image of the cake on Twitter. And I had to leave it because of things going on, buying balloons, buying banners, constructing cakes, getting takeaway, and it was all a bit of a craze. So many of you had messaged me, whether it be on my YouTube, on my Twitter, and said, you're not going to believe what happened today. And I was like, I'll watch it later. And then I sat down and watched it. And holy crap! This is the reaction of me. The eternal reaction to first seeing this episode. And I don't know how long I'm going to be able to hold myself for this episode before wanting to reach in to that little TV again and just throttle the mechanic. Because what he did was... Okay. Let's compose ourselves. Let's do a quick summary of the episode. So a crew have been in a sub searching for something for over 6 months, and they suddenly lose control of their craft, but in the process come across this little thing that we know to be TV-21, the ship of Colonel Jeff Tracy. We've been waiting for this episode since we saw the blooming previews. Naturally, of course, International Rescue launches Virgil and Gordon. Virgil to drop Gordon and Gordon to do the aqua for a part of this mission. He has to go in the sub and save everyone. Brain says he's put this special new thing on board. We don't quite find out what it is till later on. So everyone's obviously quite excited about it, and we find out in a few moments that it is the actual whole craft. It's not just part of the craft. I suppose they thought it had blown up. It's the entire thing. The whole shebang of TV-21. So of course it's causing quite a lot of excitement at base with Gordon. It's their father's ship, and it's the sort of reaction they should have had to that boot print last week. While Gordon's doing this, John contacts Penelope. He's been monitoring the prison where the hood's being kept, and something's come up, so he dispatches Penelope and Parker to go and check it out. They come across this whole little layer thanks to the dog. We're not going to talk about that right now. That they go and inspect, and we have a little bit of fun with that at the end of the episode. The finding of this secret base behind this garage door in this warehouse essentially confirms that the Hood and the mechanic are working together. They are as one, they are a team, and they're both bloody evil. Quite who's working for who yet, we're not quite sure. We haven't got that far. So in the process of this, Gordon is obviously inspecting TV-21, but then the ship that's been compromised, as it turns out, by the Hood, he is essentially taken over control of this submarine, and he grabs Thunderbird 4 and like begins to crush it, and eventually crushes it in half, like snap. I'm just not over that. He split Thunderbird 4 into two pieces. A Thunderbird craft in half. I can't wait to see you at comeuppance. I cannot wait to see you pay! So it turns out that the mechanic has essentially hired the surveyor to find TV-21. Quite what he wants TV-21 for, we're not quite sure at this point. He just wants it. Gordon, thankfully, though, manages to get out in the special edition bumper suit that Brains gives him, which enables him to swim that far under the depths of the water. The original suit he had wouldn't have. He probably would have drowned. We find out essentially that the surveyor has been hired by the mechanic to finish what the Hood started and essentially take TV-21 and destroy it. Perhaps he wants it for something else at this point. I'm really not sure. I think he's going to want it for something else, but I guess we'll find out in the latter episode. Gordon manages to cut off the power and disable the surveyor. I'm assuming it's a bit like an EMP. Wasn't quite sure what he did. He kind of shot something out of his hand, a little bit like Spider-Man there. Ended the craft, saved the crew, and to lift them back up to the surface, because obviously we can't use Thunderbird 4 for obvious emotionally distressing reasons. So he jumps in TV-21. And who enjoyed that moment? That kind of half made up for the whole thing, sort of like marginally made up for it. He put on the hat. He put on the little IR hat. Yeah, I had a little bit of a mark out for that. I'm glad they brought that hat in. I was really worried that this season wasn't going to quite live up to the last season, but they're really putting Easter eggs like that in to encourage fans like me to stay, so I really, really do appreciate moments like that. Raising it from the ocean, saving the crew, and I think they take the surveyor up with them. Quite what happens to TV-21, I'm not quite so sure. Do they put it back down? Is Gordon's not in it. Did they take that with them? Did it go in the pod? And they're just holding the surveyor. I didn't quite understand that. Go back to Penelope and Parker in that little warehouse where we find out the mechanic has actually hacked all of IR's systems. He's in there, he's listened to everything they've said. That's why he's one step ahead, because he knows exactly what they're doing, exactly when they're doing it. So Scott, of course, stands up and threatens the mechanic. That's when we have the shot of the mechanic come out in Tracy Island through the communication device. And it's, again, a moment we saw on the previews. It's a bit of a showdown between the Hood and between the mechanic and the Tracys, and in the end he takes control back of, I think, the surveyor. And I thought he was gonna like nab Gordon and Virgil in Thunderbird 2, but he just rips the ship right off their pulleys and takes it away. I'm assuming he's kidnapped the crew though, because I don't think the crew were in Thunderbird 2, or were they? It was the surveyor, right? I am looking at that right. I did see them take the surveyor, didn't I? I'm not making that up. Please don't tell me I'm making that up. It was the surveyor. So if he's got that and not TV-21, or have I got it wrong? Do tell me, because it was late when I was watching it and I was very tired. I'm still tired now. Let's get on to random little fun points going on here before I cry again at the sight of Thunderbird 4 being in two pieces at the bottom of the ocean. So we knew this episode was coming. We knew this was coming in the next 2 weeks, but the minute you just see Colonel Jeff Tracy, the feels. The feels. I touched on it a minute ago, but God, that came into play. You see Jeff Tracy. We've been waiting for this for 1.5 years at this point, nearly 2 years, and just to see it was like, be still my beating heart. I do hope we get Jeff Tracy at the end of the series. It's probably going to be the end of the series, and it's probably going to be that the Hood's got him captive somewhere, and he's had him for all these years. Maybe he's got Stockholm Syndrome. Maybe he's the mechanic. I've had all these theories thrown at me recently. Virgil played the piano! You have no idea how excited I got for that moment. It flashed on, and he's sitting there doing something we knew him to do in the original. I just went, he played the piano! And apparently it's happened before. I don't remember seeing it before. Maybe it did. It was a lot of episodes ago if it did. But my God, he was playing. That's just such a thrill of a moment, especially when they've got all these futuristic things and we don't see that so much nowadays. That was just a treat for me to see, just to have that little link. I loved it. Still no new clothes though. Now again, this is like the TX40 from a couple of episodes ago. Does TV-21 stand for something? And you guys are going to have to explain that to me. I've just got the feeling that TV-21 has some kind of strange little meaning, something hidden in there, and I'm not quite sure what it is. But if you guys know, do comment. Perhaps it's a link to another one of Jerry's projects, something like that. Always tell me, I'd love to know. TV-21 is essentially a Thunderbird prototype that the Hood crashed, just to go into a bit more details about it, and it was actually the prototype for Thunderbird 1, interestingly enough, which is why there's quite such similarity to it. I guess it makes sense that they did prototype Thunderbird 1 first when it is so commonly used, although we've not really seen it used as much in recent episodes, which is good and bad at the same time. I think we miss it, but then Scott did get a lot of airtime last series, as he always used to, so it's good really to see Thunderbird 1 not necessarily in use, and I really enjoyed seeing Scott kind of control this and being Jeff in this. It was kind of quite nostalgic and quite good to see that he can control that, less his dad, whereas in the one in the original series he epically failed. Do you guys remember that? The dog discovers the Hood and the mechanic's secret lair. No words, not even going to talk about it. You guys know I don't like the dog all that much. I am in love with the mechanic's tech. Like, the way he does things, the way he'll just like pull it and control it and shoot things out. It's like magical power. It's so incredible. I love the way that they've designed that and the way that they've thought that through and made it so that it's all kind of neurologically designed, but that he's just like a magician with it. It's so cool. I do love that. Little silly thing to pick up on there, and I've touched on it before, but I just love the way that they've thought that up and designed it. It's very futuristic and very, I think, something we could see in the future. The hat. The hat. Sitting in the seat where Jeff was, just the sight of the hat, pure excitement for the little vintage fan in me. That was... I kind of like the fact that they had that little link where Gordon puts on the hat and goes, I can't believe we used to wear these. I can't believe they used to wear them. They looked so good on the puppets, but when you look at it back now, you kind of think, what were they thinking when they put fried chicken hat style things on them? This, to me, was the epitome of a proper Thunderbirds episode. It had every brother in it. Everybody had a line whether they were involved in the rescue or not. It was a personal thing for every single person involved. And it was lovely to see them all come together. And this is now my favourite episode so far of the series. I can't wait to see what they do next week. I think next week, again, is more space involved, which isn't a bad thing. I think, as I touched on last week, they're doing a lot in space. Maybe Captain Taylor's going to come back to it next week with them being in space. Who knows? But obviously, we don't quite know what the Hood's done with anything. I think he's either taken TV21 or he's taken the Surveyor. I forget which one it is. But he's got one of them, or both of them. Not quite sure which. Perhaps he's got the crew hostage as well. It was just such a mind maze of an episode. Such a strong episode. And really, I think, did justice for so many fans out there. Really exciting. And I cannot praise that one enough. I was absolutely in love with it. Only bad point I'm going to pick up on was that blooming dog, because I don't like the dog. I'm even going to let Grandma Tracy's onesie go for this one. I'm so glad I got to get this out for you guys quicker this week. I have got someone home this week, so it's a little bit harder to do these things. He's just popped out. So it's nice to be able to do this. As soon as this was on, I was literally sitting there with notes going, I can't wait to get involved with you guys about this. I really can't. I can't wait to see what you have to say. I can't wait to see how many of you want to annihilate the mechanic like I do. I'm still nearly calling him in the Hood, and I really am sorry for that. Maybe the mechanic's going to break the Hood out of prison next week. Have any of you guys thought of that? This was a particularly long one for obvious reasons. There was so much to discuss, so thank you everyone for sticking with this, being here, and always wanting me to do this. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, please do. Next week is going to be even harder because I have someone else home. Whether they're going to be able to pop out for a little bit to enable me to do this, I don't know. Do bear with me, it will come, and I am actually going to get back into the swing of trying to record these on a Monday, if not a Saturday/Sunday, where it's possible. I don't know if we're going to get a Christmas episode of Thunderbirds. I think and hope we might. Whether they're going to series break it when we get to December and then carry it on at some point in the new year, I don't know. Whether they're just going to extend it and do it literally from this point to the end of the 26 episodes, I don't know. I would personally like to see that. I will see everyone for another episode of Thunderbirds. Anything that's going to come my way. It's nearly the end of the month, so beauty boxes are going to come back. We're going to have all this shebang coming back. It's nearly December. It's nearly Christmas again. Who'd have thought it? It's come around so damn quick. I will see everyone again. Bye-bye. And rest in peace, Thunderbird 4.